Do you have trouble sleeping, even if you're feeling exhausted? Or do you wake up in the middle of the night, look at the ceiling, and feel as if sleep has abandoned you for good? If this happens to you, I want you to know one thing. This is not normal. It's not because you're over 50 that you need to accept sleepless nights as part of your routine. What no one tells you is that, many times, the great villain of your sleep, it's on your plate. And the worst, maybe you're eating these foods thinking it's good for your body. But now imagine the opposite. Imagine lying down, closing your eyes, and simply sleep. A deep, continuous sleep that makes you wake up light, willing, with real energy. This is not utopia, nor does it require strong remedies. There is a natural, safe way. And it starts with the right diet. Today I'm going to show you which 6 foods really help those over 50 sleep better. And it's not just about listing, no. I'll show you what to eat, how to eat it, and when to eat it, so that these foods really work in your body. You deserve quiet nights. You deserve to feel your body really resting. Then pay attention, because it could change your next night's sleep, and maybe your life. And the most interesting thing is that these changes are simple. No radical diets, no fancy recipes. These are small adjustments that bring big results. That's exactly what we're going to talk about now, what these foods are, and how you can start including them in your nighttime routine today. By the way, if this type of information makes sense to you, and if you value taking care of your health in a natural and intelligent way, it is worth following the next content. There are a lot of good things coming. Now, let's get straight to the point. The first food may be closer to you than you think, and it has the power to calm your mind and prepare your body for a night of deep rest. The first food that can transform your sleep routine, especially after 50, is tart cherry, also known as tart cherry. This is not just any fruit. It is one of the most potent natural sources of melatonin, the sleep hormone. What perhaps few people know is that, as we age, the natural production of melatonin by our body begins to gradually decrease. And this drop may seem subtle at first, but it is one of the main causes behind those sleepless nights. Chopped sleep. Difficulties in falling asleep even after a tiring day. Sour cherries, unlike the common ones we find in sweet syrups or desserts, carry a natural property of regulating the biological rhythm, the so-called circadian cycle. And this has everything to do with our sleep. Consumed in the form of whole juice, preferably without added sugar, it can work as a true ally for those looking for a restorative rest. The ideal is to drink a glass, about 200 ml, 1 hour before bedtime. You don't have to exaggerate, but create a routine. It's like teaching your body to recognize that moment as the beginning of the relaxation process. But beware! There is no point in drinking the juice while watching the tense evening news or right after a heavy, high-fat dinner. The effect of the sour cherry is enhanced when combined with a calm environment, with lower light, without digital stimuli. This is a functional diet. It acts along with your lifestyle, not alone. Now, if you feel that your body is more tense at night, or if what hinders you is not just falling asleep, but staying asleep without waking up several times, the second food may surprise you. Warm milk with turmeric. Yes, milk. A simple, warm glass, like the one our grandmothers might have had before bedtime, can do a lot more for you than you imagined. But here there is an essential detail: the combination with turmeric, also known as turmeric. Turmeric is a root with powerful anti-inflammatory properties, and this is especially useful for those over 50. With advancing age, our body accumulates silent microinflammations, which do not always hurt intensely, but which bother and disrupt important functions, such as sleep, for example. When these inflammations reach the nervous system, even if discreetly, the body interprets it as a warning sign, and no one sleeps well when the brain believes something is wrong. By heating the milk, without boiling, adding half a teaspoon of turmeric powder and a pinch of black pepper, which helps in the absorption of curcumin, the active ingredient in turmeric, you create a soothing, nutritious, and restorative drink. Take it 30 minutes to an hour before bed, calmly, as a ritual. Many people report that, after a few days, The body begins to get used to it and understands this gesture as an invitation to rest. The flavor may look different at first, but it's mild and pleasant, and more importantly, it's functional. But what about when anxiety seems to let up? When the mind is racing, thinking about everything it did or didn't do during the day? That's where almonds come in. Rich in magnesium, an essential mineral for muscle and neurological relaxation, almonds are an excellent alternative for a light and nutritious evening snack. They act by regulating the activity of neurotransmitters linked to calm and relaxation. Magnesium is a nutrient that, over time, becomes scarcer in our body, and that's not our fault. It is a natural process of aging, and when it is lacking, sleep suffers. Tense muscles, night cramps, tingling, all of these can be linked to magnesium deficiency. Consuming 5 to 8 units of almonds, preferably raw or lightly toasted, unsalted, about an hour before bedtime may be enough for the body to begin to feel the effects of progressive relaxation. It is important to say, it is not about eating something to sleep, as if it were a pill. This is a smart post-50 eating strategy, focused on quality of life, where food is allied to the function that the body needs to recover. In this case, sleep. And you may wonder, but what about vegetables? Don't they help in this process? The answer is yes, and with emphasis on cooked spinach. Little valued, it is one of the most complete foods when it comes to providing magnesium, potassium, and even easily absorbed calcium. By including lightly sautéed spinach in dinner, it doesn't have to be in large quantities. Half a cup is enough. You promote muscle relaxation that starts from the inside out. Spinach helps neutralize excess acid in the body, which also impacts sleep. A very acidic body is a body on alert, and a body on alert, he does not rest. This is information that few comment on, but it has support. The balance of body pH, influenced by food, directly interferes with the ability to relax and regenerate at night. Now, let's touch on something that many people don't realize, but that makes a difference: the association between taste and emotional memory. Do you know that feeling of comfort that certain foods bring, as if they embrace inside? That's that. This is the case of banana with cinnamon. Bananas are rich in tryptophan, an amino acid precursor to serotonin, which in turn helps in the production of melatonin. And cinnamon, in addition to flavoring, helps regulate blood sugar, preventing insulin spikes that could disrupt sleep. Cut half a banana, add a pinch of cinnamon, and consume about 30 minutes before bedtime. It's simple, it's comforting, and it fits perfectly into the routine of those looking for a balanced sleep. But remember, everything in balance. Do not eat a whole large banana or overdo it with cinnamon. The key here is moderation with intention. Last but not least is the old and reliable chamomile tea, which, when combined with lavender, elevates its calming potential to another level. Chamomile tea acts as a mild nervous system relaxant, but when mixed with lavender, which has proven effects on stress and anxiety, the result is a true invitation to sleep. Drink a warm, unsweetened cup about an hour before bed. Do this in a calm environment without screens. Sit down, breathe, smell the lavender as you drink. This ritual, which seems too simple, has the power to signal to your brain that the day is ending and that now is the time to rest. These foods, each with its own specific properties, make up a natural arsenal against insomnia and restless sleep. And the most interesting thing is that, when integrated into the routine with constancy and awareness, the effects are not limited to a single good night. They create a foundation of internal balance, which is reflected in more energy in the morning, less irritability, and even improved memory and physical disposition throughout the day. And that's just the beginning of what strategic eating can do for you after 50. And when we start making these changes in food, even if small, something surprising happens. The body begins to respond. Sleep, which was previously fragmented, light and insufficient, begins to reorganize itself. But just as important as knowing what to consume is understanding the power of food substitutions. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about now. The idea here is not just to include good foods, but to replace eating habits that have been sabotaging your rest for years. often without you realizing it. Most people who face difficulties sleeping after 50 continue to repeat a nighttime routine that, unfortunately, is incompatible with deep sleep. Imagine the following scenario. You have dinner late, consume fatty, sugary, or ultra-processed foods. Drink that coffee after 8 p.m. thinking that it doesn't affect you anymore, and go to bed already playing with your cell phone or watching television with bright light directly on your face. All of this signals to the brain that it's still time to be alert. That is, your body may even be tired, but your mind remains in a state of wakefulness. Result? Restless sleep, frequent awakenings, feeling tired when waking up. That's where strategic sleep eating makes all the difference. It is not limited to what is on your plate, but also to the time you eat, the way you consume it, and what you decide to exclude from your eating routine. A fundamental point is to respect the time the body needs to digest food before bed. The ideal is to have your last meal between 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. This prevents the body from being overwhelmed with digestion, while it should be focused on regeneration. And on what to remove, let's get straight to the point. Many adults over 50 still maintain the habit of consuming foods rich in refined sugar at night, such as cakes, cookies, industrialized breakfast cereals, and even sweetened beverages, such as chocolate and artificial juices. These foods quickly raise blood glucose, generating an artificial energy spike just when you should be getting ready for rest. Soon after this peak comes the abrupt drop in sugar, which can cause irritability, sweating, nocturnal agitation, and even nightmares, not to mention the impact that regular sugar consumption has on the quality of deep sleep, the most restorative of all. By replacing these products with more natural alternatives, such as low-glycemic fruits, such as cherries, already mentioned, or even a small portion of nuts, you avoid these energy spikes and drops, and create a much smoother transition to sleep. In addition, you contribute to better weight control, blood glucose, and cardiovascular health, fundamental factors for those who want to age with autonomy and vitality. Another silent villain, especially ignored by many after 50, is the consumption of caffeine in the afternoon and evening. Often, we believe that coffee, black tea, or soda no longer have an effect, because we are used to it. But the body feels it, even if you don't realize it right away. Caffeine can remain active in the body for up to 6 to 8 hours, blocking receptors for adenosine, the neurotransmitter responsible for inducing sleep. And even if you do manage to sleep, the sleep will not be deep. It will be superficial, interrupted, and the brain will not be able to efficiently carry out the regeneration cycles so important for memory, hormonal balance, and anxiety control. Therefore, the recommendation for those who want to truly take care of their sleep after 50 is simple. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. If you feel like having something warm at night, opt for soothing infusions such as chamomile, lavender, melissa, or passion fruit. In addition to warming the body and bringing comfort, they help signal that it is time to slow down. And as we said before, this has a powerful effect when practiced ritually, with consistency and intention. Now, there is something very important that needs to be said. Nighttime food re-education must be done with compassion. No guilt, no excessive self-demand. Change starts with awareness. When you understand how certain foods interfere with your rest and decide to replace them with others that nourish, soothe, and regenerate, you're taking control of your health in a gentle and respectful way. And speaking of respect, it is necessary to look with affection at the body that is over 50 years old. This body has faced a lot. He has worked. He has taken care of others. He has given himself. And now he asks for true rest. He asks for a break. And there's nothing wrong with that. On the contrary, it is a form of wisdom. And rest begins with what you choose to put on your plate. Within this new look, we begin to understand that eating well at night is not a luxury. It is a necessity. It is self-care in its simplest and most powerful form, and the beauty of it all is that you don't have to make these changes alone. There is a growing community of people who, like you, are awakening to this new way of living, more conscious, lighter, more connected with their own internal rhythms. That's why, In addition to including the right foods, the proposal here is to replace practices that, even though they seem harmless, sap your nighttime energy. For example, instead of having dinner in front of the television, choose to set up a calm environment, with milder light, in silence or with soft music. Instead of using your phone in bed, try writing down 3 good things that happened in your day. Small gestures that, added together, build a deeper, truer night's sleep. This journey we are building together is about this: strategic nutrition as an ally of longevity, sleep, and quality of life after 50. It is not a matter of following a rigid recipe, but of cultivating a new mentality, a new respect for the signals of your body. And if there is something that time teaches, it is that the best changes are those that come with awareness. They are those that do not require Herculean effort, but constancy. Waking up in a good mood, with a light head, a refreshed body, and a clear mind, should not be the privilege of a few. It should be a possible reality for everyone who learns to nourish body and spirit wisely. And that's why, going forward, we're going to delve even deeper into this integrated approach, where the right food at the right time can be the key to unlocking quality sleep, healthy aging, and true vitality. Because yes, it is possible to sleep well, live well, and feel good, even after 50. And now that you know what to include and what to avoid, the next step is to find out how it connects with the signals your body is already giving you. Signals that are often ignored. Let's continue on this journey together. And it is precisely from these silent signals that the body gives us, that tiredness that does not seem to go away, the night awakenings for no reason, the difficulty of relaxing, even at the end of a long day, that we realize how sleep after 50 needs to be treated with the importance it really has. Sleeping well at this stage of life is no longer just a matter of comfort. It is a vital need. And in this context, one of the most ignored, but at the same time most powerful points for those who want to transform the quality of their own rest comes in: emotional food awareness. Yes, because after a certain age, it is no longer enough to look at nutrients in isolation. We need to understand the impact that food has on our emotions, and consequently, on sleep. There is a direct relationship between what we eat, how we feel, and how we sleep. And often, food does not enter only because of hunger, but because of an emotional lack that has accumulated over the years. It is the cookie at the end of the day that brings comfort, the sweet that calms anxiety, the glass of drink that turns off the mind. But here's the truth that few have the courage to say: these foods you use to try to find peace are the same ones that are keeping you away from the rest your body craves. That innocent sugar at night dysregulates your hormones. The drink to relax interferes with your sleep cycle. Excess processed carbohydrates to satisfy hunger generates inflammation and imbalance. And all this adds up, silently, until you start to think it's normal to wake up tired, feel your body locked, your head heavy, your patience short. But it's not normal. It doesn't have to be this way. The turning point happens when you decide to regain control of your eating, not only to nourish your body, but to free your mind from the trappings of emotional food. And this process, although it seems difficult, is simpler than it seems when you start to notice the patterns. For example, every time you feel anxious in the late afternoon, do you run to a specific food? Every time you sleep poorly, do you look for more sugar the next day? Identifying these cycles is the first step to breaking them. And why is this so important for sleep? Because our nervous system, especially the parasympathetic system, responsible for calming the body, responds directly to the quality of our emotional and metabolic state. If you enter the night with an inflamed body, with unregulated blood glucose, with an accelerated mind, there is no chamomile tea that solves it. Sleep needs fertile ground. And this terrain begins with conscious, consistent choices that are connected to your moment in life. The good news is that you don't have to fight food. On the contrary, you can use food as an ally to rescue the balance that the body is asking for. There are foods that, when consumed with intention, help regulate not only the body, but also emotion. They are rich in tryptophan, magnesium, omega-3s, antioxidants, and act as precursors to substances that promote relaxation, mental clarity, and well-being, essential ingredients for restorative sleep. But it is not enough to eat. It is necessary to create an emotional environment favorable to digestion, assimilation, and rest. An environment that starts within you. This means slowing down, paying attention to the act of eating, avoiding distractions, silencing outside noises. Eat slowly, feeling the taste, taking a deep breath. It sounds simple, but this gesture has the power to re-educate your brain to understand that it is safe, that it can relax, that it can sleep. And from there, everything changes. The body begins to come out of constant alert mode. The production of cortisol, the stress hormone, decreases. Melatonin, which until then was blocked by internal chaos, begins to be produced more naturally. And little by little, sleep becomes deeper, longer lasting, more nutritious. You wake up different, lighter, more whole, more ready for the day. It is important to say that this does not happen overnight, but every choice counts. Every little adjustment is a step. Reduce sugar, replace that afternoon coffee with a soothing infusion, swap white bread for a natural source of fiber, add more magnesium-rich foods to dinner. These are not drastic changes. They are conscious decisions, repeated with care and intention. And here comes another dimension of this care, the ritualistic aspect of nocturnal feeding. Turning the last meal of the day into a self-care ritual may be the missing link between you and quality sleep. Imagine ending the day with a light, warm, nutritious meal consumed calmly under a soft light. Imagine not taking your cell phone to the table, not answering messages while eating. Imagine being present. Your body feels it, and he answers. Because sleep doesn't start in bed. It starts in the way you conduct your evening, in the way you treat your body in the last hours of the day. That's why food, in this context, is not just a matter of nutrients. It's an invitation to reconnect with one's own rhythm, with what your body is asking for, with what your mind needs to be silent, with what your soul is seeking, peace. And the nocturnal peace that we seek so much is not in a magic formula, it is in the sum of his gestures, in how you prepare your plate, in how you decide to eat, in how you welcome yourself. This is what I call conscious emotional eating. It's eating to sleep, yes, but it is also eating to feel good, to calm down, to heal. This approach gains even more strength when you understand that by taking care of yourself in this way, you are not just looking for a good night's sleep. You are rebuilding your health foundation, strengthening your immune system, preventing diseases, improving your energy and even your relationships, because a rested person is a more present, more lucid, more loving person. And if there is a phase of life when this becomes even more precious, it is after 50, because this is the moment when the body has already carried a lot, and now it asks for balance. That's when the excess of demand needs to give way to care, listening, sensitivity. This is when sleep is no longer just a detail of the routine and becomes one of the most powerful pillars of a long, light, and meaningful life. So, stay tuned. The next steps of this journey are just as important as the previous ones, because now that you've started clearing the ground, it's time to further strengthen the roots. And there is something essential that we still need to address, something that completes this experience and transforms not only your nights, but also your days. And this essential something, which supports everything we have talked about so far, is the ability to maintain constancy, even in the face of distractions, unforeseen events, and temptations of everyday life. Because there's no point in including healthy foods for 1 or 2 nights if, in the others, you go back to old habits. Sleep, especially after 50, needs routine, predictability, stability. And this can only be achieved with repeated choices, with intention, day after day. This is where many give up, not because of a lack of willpower, but because they were not taught to see the value of small decisions. Every night you respect your rhythm. Every day you choose the right food. Every moment you slow down before bed, It's all an investment in you. It's not about perfection. It's about conscious repetition. And this transforms not only your rest, but the way you age. People who develop a balanced nighttime eating routine report not only improvements in sleep, but also less joint pain, more energy during the day, fewer mood swings, and even greater mental clarity. The brain, after all, also sleeps. And when you allow him to really rest, he responds with more focus, more memory, more tranquility. This means preventing future problems and living more autonomously, which, for those over 50, is a priceless gift. But none of this is built alone. That's why here on the channel, you're not just watching a video. You are part of a community of people who, like you, have chosen to take care of their health with awareness, with respect for their own time, and with intelligence. And if this content touched you in any way, if you felt that it brought clarity, direction, or hope, I invite you, subscribe here to the channel. When you subscribe, you not only guarantee that you will receive the next content, which is always designed based on science, responsibility, and empathy, but also supports a project that exists to bring more health, more quality of life, and more well-being to people over 50 years old. Each new subscription strengthens this space and allows us to continue producing high-value content for you. What's more, if you haven't watched the other videos on the channel yet, I strongly recommend you explore the content that is already available. There are specific videos about foods that harm your joints, breakfast mistakes after 60, habits that steal your energy, among many other topics within strategic eating and health in maturity. All with clear, accessible, respectful language, the way you deserve. Now, I really want to hear from you. Which of these foods that help you sleep better were you already using, and which one do you plan to try starting today? Answer me here in the comments. Sharing your experience can help others who are going through the same difficulties. And if you have any questions or suggestions for a topic, also write here. I read every comment carefully, and many of the videos I publish arise exactly from the conversations we have here. Remember, aging healthily is not luck. It is a decision. And food is one of the most powerful tools you have in your hands to make this journey lighter, more conscious, and happier. Stay with me. The next step of our journey is already being prepared. And you can be sure, if you've made it this far, it's because you care about yourself, and that already puts you far ahead. Now take a deep breath, feel the impact of this information inside you, and move on. Sleeping well after 50 is possible. It's real. And it is within your reach. Let's go for it together.